everyone, this is Dream from Where the Yokels Grow, and in today's video we are going to discuss how to start a three-sister garden. If you all are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, I am so glad to see you again. Let's get growing, y'all. Okay, y'all, first let's talk about what a three-sister garden is. It is typically corn, squash, and green beans. Corn, large corn stalks. Green beans must be a vining green bean, although I have grown bush green beans at the base and they've done very well. And a squash. For me, I grow a honey nut winter squash or a butternut squash, but you could also grow any winter vining squash. Sorry. Sometimes I trip over my words. Squash, as well as a spaghetti squash. I know one of my friends, she really loves spaghetti squash, and that's what she grew, but I'm not a fan of spaghetti squash, so it's not what I grow. So I want to first talk about the 4 varieties of corn that I'm growing. The first 3 varieties of corn that I'm growing will be grown in my raised bed garden up front in one of the brand new garden beds that we just bought. And the first one that we will be planting in our three-sister garden is the Golden Cross Batten, which will be more so these than anything, because this is what I typically grow and I absolutely love this corn. A new one for me, which is an experiment because I don't know how it's going to grow. It's called Martian Jewels, but I think it's beautiful. And as fall comes in, look how pretty that is. I think it's going to be a real pretty one. And then, of course, because the Three Sisters garden has deep-rooted ties to our early Native Americans, because these are the crops that they survived on, I am growing what's known as a glass gem corn or an Indian corn. And then the final corn that I'm growing as part of the patio-to-plate container challenge, and I'm not sure how I'm going to grow it yet. I may either just do a 10-gallon grow bag or a 20-gallon grow bag, or I might do both. And I'm actually leaning towards doing both because, you know, it's an experiment. I don't know how well they're going to grow or how much space they need because I've never grown them. And these are for you all who have small spaces, who live in apartments, who have a patio, or you have a terrace, or you live in a condo. And these are designed to be grown in containers. So taking part in the patio to plate container challenge, I felt that this was a great candidate for that. So even though they won't be part of my main sister garden, I am going to take these and I'm going to take beans that I'm planting in containers, and I will be planting a 20-gallon grow bag with the Three Sisters in it. So we'll see how it goes. And that is called the Sweet Corn on Deck Hybrid, and it is from Burpee. So the green beans that I like to grow, like I said earlier, Kentucky green beans are my favorite. And I've grown these every year. They get huge. I get a lot of them, and honestly, I get so many I can't even keep up with them. A lot of them dry out or I give them away. I can as much as I can, but they grow really well. And that is the Kentucky Wonder vine bean. Now, I said also that I sometimes grow a bush bean at the base, and the one that I always grow is called Blue Lake, and that is this one. Now I've planted up all my squash in in seed starts, so I don't have it, but the one that I planted was from Burpee, and it was the honey butternut hybrid, and that's the one. So now we're going to talk about the 4th sister, you know, that stepsister. However, she might just be the most beautiful of the family, and she's also the main component of my pollinator gardens, I should say. I am putting in a lot more this year. Now I am growing a substantial amount of sunflowers this year of different varieties. So we're going to go through the varieties and then we'll talk about why. So the first variety of sunflower, it's brand new to me this year, is called Tiger's Eye Mix Sunflower. There's that one. The next one is called Busy Bee. Now, if you've never grown this and you want to have a pollinator's garden, I'm telling you right now, they don't get, I think my biggest one last year was probably about 6 foot, but the bees, the honeybees, they absolutely love this one, and they did really well last year here in Texas. So this one is a new one for me this year. However, I have grown it in it wasn't called the Rogue Royale, but it was just called the red sunflower. But this is the new one, a new one for me. It's called the Rogue Royale. Moonshine, this one is a small, she doesn't get real big if you've never grown it. She doesn't get real tall, but she gets bushy with multiple flowers on her. This one is new. It's called Vanilla Ice. I try to grow new ones every year. Teddy bear's not new. I grew a teddy bear. This is my second year to grow it. And then this is my second year to grow dwarf sunflowers. Now, if you all go into stores and you see cut sunflowers, the variety typically is a dwarf sunflower, and that's just because they're very short in stature, but they have very thick stalks and do well in cut flowers. So if you're someone who likes cut flowers and you want to have some on your table, you could grow this in a container because they grow brilliantly in containers, perfectly. You don't have to put them in the ground. Another new one for me. Now, you know how you always go to Johnny Seeds and you see those beautiful sunflowers. I decided to get, I don't know if you all have been in the Johnny's catalog, but they have a green sunflower. It's almost like a lime green. And it's called the Green Single Stem Hybrid Sunflower. And that's that one from Johnny Seeds. This one I have grown. This is called the Red Sun. I grew, not last year, but the year before. I had an entire bed of this and I think it was the Mammoth Sunflower, but they did really well. Then here's another one. This one's another part of the family of the green, like the green stem sunflower from Johnny Seeds, except this one's called the Gold Stem Hybrid Sunflower from Johnny Seeds. Sorry, I'll try to find pictures of them. And as I say them, I'll hopefully can flash a picture. Now, for those of you who know me, who've seen my sunflowers, I have grown Mammoth sunflowers. I typically don't start them because I don't have to, but I am going to start a whole new run over here on the sensory garden. So this year I'm going to have to plant seeds. I grow Mammoth sunflowers in my front yard, and it has been my experience, and I've been growing them now. It's got to be 10 plus years that I've been growing them, because it's the only sunflower up until 2 years ago that I ever grew. But they get huge if you're someone who's thinking about growing them, and there they are, and they have multiple heads on them. It's not like one giant sunflower head. It's going to grow. You know, I think my tallest one last year, I don't know if y'all remember the one that broke off. It broke off, and then we put it back together, and it kept growing, and I think she was at 15 feet. But she had multiple heads all over her, so they get very wide. So wherever you plant them, this won't be a good container. This will not be a good container sunflower, but wherever you plant them, make sure you give them plenty of space. Another sunflower that I grew for the first time last year was called a chocolate sunflower, and I will try and find a picture of it and put it up in here in this video. But it was called a chocolate sunflower. Now I don't have a picture of it because it's just, I bought this from somebody off Marketplace who was selling their sunflower seeds. And then this is the one that I've always grown. This is called a Shanty Hybrid, but I call it a red sunflower, y'all. And there that is. So those are the sunflowers. Now, I know a lot of you will find this controversial. All of these sunflowers and my corn and my beans, I actually start by seed in seed starting containers, and then I transplant them out. Now you can most definitely plant your sunflowers directly in the ground. There's no problem with that. Just make sure it's a, it's not a tight soil, well drained, sunny place. Even some sunflowers, they can get, well, we're in North Texas, so any plant that can get some shade will do great in Texas. They actually do better because it gets pretty hot here at the end of the summer. So that is my what to grow in your sister's garden. Now, how to start your sister's garden. I will be doing another video later on how to start your garden, and I will show you how I put that together. But right now I'm gonna tell you, and then I'm gonna put a picture up as I talk about it so you can see what it looks like. So typically on your three sisters garden, this is the way my grandfather did it. For those of you who don't know, my grandfather was Dakota, Sioux, and Cherokee. His mother was Dancing Moon, and he grew the most amazing gardens. But the way he would do it, his corn were planted in a diamond, or a triangle shape. So what that means is one corn was here, and then one here and one here. So in a diamond, I'm sorry, a triangle shape. And according to him, the reason they grew the best this way is in between the center, you would plant your green bean. And that gave the green bean 3 different stalks to climb, and it would also, when they're that close together, it would also allow them, as the wind blows, because that's how corn pollinates itself. You know, you see those big white tassels. They're probably not called tassels, I'm sure there's a name for them, but I call them a tassel. White tassels, and they look furry. Well, when the wind blows, and then when you look down the stem, there's a leaf that's coming out. Well, when those little seeds off those little tassels fall down, that's how corn is created. And so the green beans holds those 3 together, kind of like a little rope, and those 3 will constantly hit each other when the wind blows, and that will allow you to have more corn. Now, when you bring the sunflowers and the squash together, squash has flowers, of course, and they need to be pollinated by a pollinator. If you add sunflowers in the same bed as your squash, cucumbers, anything that's flowering, you kind of increase your chances of pollination, because the bees are going to go from the sunflowers and then they'll go down to the flowers, and you'll get all this pollinating going on. Hey, if you all found value in this video today, be sure to give us a thumbs up and a like. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that that notification button. New videos post often, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Until I do, keep growing, you all. Bye-bye.